All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Upper School District Operations Committee. It's August 22nd, 2019. It is 6 p.m. We're in the high school Cardinal Room. Sarah Rothman, who's a member of the committee, is not present. I'll call the meeting to order. Let's get started. No presentations. An announcement, Dr. Young? Order.
There are no announcements tonight.
Okay. So there is, on the agenda, there's an item for the all hazards plan.
At the upcoming legislative meeting, the board is going to be asked to consider a motion to accept the all hazards plan. The all hazards plan is about a 300-page document that outlines all the district's safety protocols and procedures. It is a confidential document, so it won't be attached to the agenda. But through the Office of Safe Schools, we've been asked to have the board accept it. So just know that we do have an all hazards plan in place.
Okay, thank you. We do have minutes from the July meeting. If anyone has corrections, please get them to Brooke. And let's jump into the reports and recommendations, starting with an SRMS project update. Is that Steve or Bob?
Okay, where we stand, much anticipated modular building is substantially complete. We have begun moving the teachers in. I think we have about 5 rooms left that we expect to complete tomorrow. Fully complete with the teachers, allowing them to come in and set up their space. We have 1 room that still needs furniture put in. That's going to occur tomorrow after a final cleaning in the morning. Township has been through. We have our final electrical inspection. We have final plumbing inspections are completed. Our fire inspections, everything has been completed. Township will be back in tomorrow for hopefully we are using occupancy permit after that. That pace has been going well. Crews have been working very hard getting that ready. Custodians have been doing an excellent job helping move all the furniture in a very short time period into that space. And in the annex, the asbestos contractor has started. We have our permits for the asbestos abatements ready in hand. They're actually doing the prep work now, taping off the rooms, and we expect that the abatement will start as well next week. James Morrissey, as everybody can see, is probably the easiest to see from Limekiln Pikes and Twining Pike Road. They've been working on the extra lanes. They did the base course paving for the right-hand turn lane into Sandy Run. They're waiting for some utilities to get out of the way. It looks like just Verizon is left. Verizon and Comcast have to get their wires off the remaining 2 poles, and they'll be able to take those poles out of the way and do the base course for that left-hand turn lane of the extra spaces needed there. The island has been completed. We've been watching that very carefully because that will be a student path for the first day of school. The new pedestrian island is complete. And we're working with Marcy also with the sidewalk and a walking path for the students who will be crossing that on the first day of school. So we will have a plan in place for that. One thing I did want to note with the annex and the spirit of cooperation we was talking about with the township, we've been letting the police department, specifically the SWAT team, the Montgomery County Eastern Regional SWAT team, do some practice in that building. Now that it's getting close to tear down, they're able to do more tactics that you normally can't do because of damage that will occur to doors. So we've been working with them. They're very grateful for the opportunity because opportunity to work in a building like this does not come very often.
And then I'll give a quick update on the budget document that's included. So this is, along with giving an update at every operations committee meeting on the project, I'll give a quick update on the budget. And the budget document that's included is a working draft of what we'll provide every single month. And it's just to go through, we work through the financials with Dewey on a regular basis. And what that document shows you is there's a couple columns there. The first column is the original budget that was approved with the approval of the bid awards at the last legislative meeting. The second column is a column that shows your updated budget information. So as we go through the project now, anytime there's change orders or anything new that comes up, we'll reflect that in the budget current column. So we always have where we started as the starting place. That column will not change, and then you'll be able to see kind of where we're at. The third column shows you is just a record of all of the bills that we've paid to date. And then the final column there is kind of where that leaves us then as far as current budget to what's been paid out. So you can see in that document that we've paid out about a little over $9.5 million to date. And just to be clear, part of that $9.5 million is the $4.4 million we wrote as part of our escrow to the township for the land development. So while I added that line in to show it, it's not truly an expense. So what will happen as we start submitting reimbursements to get that money back, that $4.4 million will start to move down towards zero on this budget document. So it's not money that we have in our bank account right now, so we're showing it as money that's left, but we'll start to get that back over time. So.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions on any of that update? Go ahead, Stan.
Where was that escrow amount? Yeah.
It's up under the construction costs. It's right under the general contractor. So there's a second line there that's called general contractor UDT escrow. And the reason that it's there is because the general contractor will be doing all that. That'll be the contractor responsible for doing all that work. So as they complete the work, that's when we'll request reimbursement.
All right, I appreciate that we'll be seeing this updated every month. That'll be very informative for us and for the public, I'm sure. Okay, anything else to add? Okay. Moving on to the asbestos abatement.
Yes, we have looking for ratification of a proposal from Element Environmental, who does all of our asbestos work, monitoring work, and consulting services for indoor air quality. This agreement is to provide an on-site technician for monitoring of the abatement of the asbestos in the annex prior to demolition. That task is, they're quoting $16,125. And that's just to be there. They're taking air samples, making sure everything is done properly, all the asbestos is removed. They'll also issue us a report at the end of the job. We also have a second task on this proposal. The second task is construction administration. This is to attend all the pre-construction meetings, construction meetings while the abatement is occurring. That fee was $1,940.
Okay, and just to be clear, that's proposed to come out of bond fund, and was that part of the original? That was part of the original budget, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Comments? Go ahead, Stan.
Are we required to do this?
Yes. Yes, this is all part of the abatement. To get the demolition permits, we had to do a hazardous materials inspection. The asbestos, we look for asbestos, we look for lead, paint, we did a full survey of the building. That report was done much earlier, actually prior to the bidding, we had that report done. They are now that was bid for the hazard abatement, we really didn't find the lead paint. The asbestos is really contained in some pipe fittings, floor tiles, and believe it or not, the glue on the back of the blackboards in the classrooms. They'll pull the blackboards off and scrape the glue off the back. So yes, that is all required before we can get permits to demolish the building. And this is just that actually contract is with Sargent Enterprises. Sargent does a lot of work in the district. They were the low bidder for the project, yes. And this is the oversight. This is the required monitoring to making sure that they properly clean the space when they're finished, that we don't have any airborne particles that could get out of the building, the proper filters in place, and they'll be taking samples and giving clearances for other workers to have the space.
So they're watching the asbestos abatement people?
Correct. They are making sure that we are compliant within the letter of the law, the proper disposal methods, proper abatement methods, and containment methods.
Okay, and then the administration. Okay, and then what is the benefit of us having that?
They're actually working
Task two.
with, they're actually helping us with the contractor's schedule. Scheduling when they are and how much time they're going to need. They've been attending the pre-construction meetings so they can help organize with other contractors that need to be working in the area as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
This is just for the annex, right? So by the time we get to send you around the other part of the demolition, we'll go through another round of this.
Correct. This is for the annex only. We do have the price of the original bid from Sargent. Does include the abatement and the main building, but that's going to be 4 years from now.
All right, so we'll move that one to ratification. We'll move that to the legislative meeting on Monday. Next up, extra work authorization for roadway.
Yes, McMahon Associates has come back to us for some extra work. Some of it they've been doing just to keep the project rolling along. This is all related to road work improvements. They've been out, they've had some field meetings with the township staff regarding the traffic signal, some issues that we're going to have where they're worried about the controls with the traffic meetings. Some of the final locations for control boxes for township traffic light when the township goes to upgrade the traffic light, so everybody is in coordination. There will be some upgrades in the future that the township's doing, but we are working on placement. And there's been some other unknowns that we've encountered. One of the items we're going to talk about later is we discovered a township stormwater pipe that was originally shown to us as being in the roadway. It was not. It was run through the grass area that was located in the right-of-way for utilities. We did not expect to see that pipe. We did not expect to see it at the depth that it was at either. So we'll be talking about a change order about that. So they have been working about that. There's also been some Pico pole relocation services, just some verification to make sure they're out of the walkway. Twining Road, the sidewalks, they've been working with us to make sure as the start of school that if this road work's not completed, we're hoping this work would have been completed before the start of school, but with delays from Pico, they had storm-related delays where they had stopped doing any additional work other than emergency service, which put us behind on the road work by several weeks. So they've been working with us to make sure that we have proper sidewalk access and a safe route for the children. And the cost of this was $20,000.
So to be clear, is this $20,000 for work that has already occurred? Because there's mentioned here ongoing work that they expect.
It's ongoing. Yes, it is ongoing work. Some of it has been completed already, but this is the expected, what they've done in addition to what is expected to happen throughout the remainder of the work.
We're not currently expecting another one of these later.
No.
Since the last.
No, we're not.
Okay.
So with McMahon in the budget, we spent their budget, we originally budgeted 100,000, well, now 100,000 is in the budget. So this additional 20.
It's additional, that's correct. So we'll probably, I expect we'll have to increase that budgeted line item in the budget for the project.
Okay, because there is a balance of around 25,000, that will be used also.
That's correct. I think the contract that we have in place is around 75,000, so this will add on to that. So if there's anything additional beyond that, we'll have to increase the budget. So right now we're about right in line with the $100,000.
Including this?
Including this.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Sorry, run that through me again. I'm seeing here on the budget update here, it says McMahon. Like you said, 75,000 actual to date. And then it says budget current, 100,000. So you're saying this extra 20,000 today that we're approving is in that 100,000?
Correct. So the $100,000 is a number that Dewey gave us. It's an estimate, just like a lot of these other budgeted line items. So we paid out $75,000 to date. This is an additional $25,000 that we'll have to pay out. So once we pay this all out, we'll be around $95,000 that we've paid to McMahon.
So we executed, let me try, can I try?
We've executed a contract for around $75,000. This is an additional $20,000 that we'll execute.
Today?
So
Well,
we'll approve it on, if the board accepts it, it'll be approved on Monday.
okay, and how do they come up with that? Because it says as soon as they reach 75% of the 20,000 threshold, right, they'll notify the school district, right? I mean, that's what it says in the contract.
Then that's what we would expect them to do, yes.
Why didn't they just say, okay, do it at like, I don't know, 15,000? As soon as they hit 15,000, then contact, that's the budget. So now there's like a cushion that they can go up to. I mean, is that an incentive for them to stay being, within budget? I don't know, we're giving them an extra, 10%, 5%. I'm just for the sake of argument here, they come up with 20 grand. That's just a nice round number. But couldn't they just say, the real 75% of 20 grand, what is that? 15,000. Why didn't you just say 15,000?
I mean, I think that's just a notification to say, hey, we're getting close, we're moving towards this 20,000, and it's potential that once they reach that, they could come back and say they need more, so absolutely. We hope that doesn't happen, but, I mean, we're approving the contract up to 20, and they're gonna notify us when they're approaching that number, just in case, they need some more room.
You see what I'm getting at? It's like
We're definitely monitoring McMahon and reviewing
Okay.
reviewing the invoices, because that's one of the things that we've been doing internally. I think that's, and again, this isn't anything against McMahon. I think that's the only contract right now, the original contracts that were passed, that I'm not 100% comfortable with, along with the invoices that they've sent us to date. So just in the spirit of full transparency. So McMahon is something that we're looking into, the invoices and how that aligns to the original contract. So this is something, if we don't authorize this, then there's potential that could hold up some of the work that's being done.
Understood.
So we're carefully monitoring
Got it.
McMahon.
And then on that stormwater pipe, the township stormwater pipe, do we have to improve that? Are we moving that, or what are we doing with that?
Yes, and we'll discuss that in the next change order. Yes, that the reason we have to touch it is the depth that it is right now. It's just sufficient enough depth that when we put the fill back in, do our base course, we need to make sure there's enough fill between our roadway improvements and their pipe so we don't collapse it. So the pipe does need to be relocated deeper.
I mean, you're saying it's in the long area now, right?
Correct, which will be the lane of traffic. I guess you can consider that a southbound lane on Twining Road. So if you're coming down Twining, cross over Lime Kiln, going towards Sandy Run, that's now a traffic lane where we found this pipe.
Do we need to keep it under the road? Can we move it so it's not under the road like it is now?
It'll still be under the road. It'll be the straightest line to do that. Regardless, we need to excavate here anyway. So this pipe's going to be regardless if it's on the grass or under the roadway. It'll be the same price. We're still going to be digging out the pipe and installing the nail.
And is the township going to approve the material, the piping, and inspect it and all that kind of stuff before we put the road in? Because I know in the past, when I was commissioner, PennDOT put in that stormwater pipe for Sandy Run up off of Fitzwatertown Road, and of course it was crooked and water was coming in and was slowing it down. I mean, are we going to own that pipe, or is the township, if there was an issue, is the township going to fix it, or is it going to make us fix it?
The repair, I assume that is township's responsibility. Once we complete this, it is their stormwater pipe. Because it's in our way, we are handling moving it. Advantage Engineers is on site all the time while we're doing this road work. They are the approved third-party inspector, so they will be monitoring that everything is being done correctly at the proper depth.
And if there is an issue, just say 3 or 4 years down the road, it's not going to be our fault, right? It won't be the school district's fault, because I don't think we should pay for it if there is an issue.
Unless it was a workmanship issue by our contractor, which we would go back onto them at that point. It shouldn't, I wouldn't see where it would come back onto us.
Okay, I just don't want things coming back to haunt us.
We're also working with the township because this is, the material that the pipe is made of. It's the same material that the township is replacing, or it's made of the same material pipes that the township is replacing. So Monday afternoon, Dewey Engineering is meeting with the township to see what support the township can give us from a financial perspective with this, so that the entire cost is not borne completely by the district.
And what is the condition of that pipe now? Did it need to be replaced? I mean, because, you know, if we're replacing a pipe that would have been replaced by the township, you know, 2-3 years down the road, couldn't we get reimbursement for some of the costs?
I don't know the exact condition of the pipe. Bill Hamley is here from Dewey Engineering. He may have some insight. It is a corrugated steel pipe. They are prone to failure in the future, yes.
And collapsing.
And collapsing, yes. They are known to do that. I do know the township has replaced many of these pipes in the past. I don't know the exact condition of this. I don't know if there's been full excavation of the pipe. It was just encountered and work had stopped there.
And approximately how long is this pipe going to replace?
Okay, I have that here. We are looking at 518 feet.
Okay, we kind of jumped ahead there. So we're going to move the.
Sorry.
That's okay. We're going to move the McMahon contract
Okay, good.
ratification forward. Okay, and then we're on to the storm drain work, which is item 4. And are there any other comments or questions about item 4?
Yeah, I just want to agree with Stan. I think we need to do whatever we could with the township to see how they can work with us on this additional cost.
For the board members that had the opportunity to read the director's briefing this week, our weekly update, when you think about that, that's 5% of our contingency account. And so, you know, the most critical point of a construction project is the point when we're still working in the ground. Once we're up out of the ground, we're good. But that's why the board can expect an update hopefully late Monday afternoon before the legislative meeting of the results of the meeting with the township.
Anyone else? Out of curiosity, Bob, so the pipe is not deep enough. Was it deep enough when it was laid and the rules have changed, or was it?
No, to get the roadway, the correct level of the roadway, we want that cushion of space, because before, when it was under the grass, you didn't have the vehicle traffic on it. Now that you're putting vehicle traffic on top with the roadway, you want to make sure that there's enough base that the weight is spread around the pipe and not, you don't want to run a chance of collapsing the pipe.
Okay, yeah, so it's our change
It's our change.
that requires the depth. Okay.
And it was in the right of way, so it wasn't like it was in a place where it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It's on the grass that we manage, but there is the right of ways along for the utilities, and it was within that right of way.
But it's the additional road improvements that were recommended to us
Correct.
from
Yeah.
others.
Yes. That's where I was.
This is all based on, we talked about the original McMahon contract. The original McMahon contract was do the roadway study, do a traffic study based on how we were going to use the school, the entrances and the exits. That study showed that we had to make roadway improvements to accommodate the traffic, which is why McMahon's contract was expanded again so this is all, it does build on itself. So this all does stem from our original traffic study that said that we need to make improvements to the roadway for left-hand turns to accommodate all the parents dropping off and picking up coming out of Sandy Run.
Also based that the township said the pipe was underneath the street already, and it wasn't. Right? Didn't you say it was?
It showed on the original prints. I don't know whose responsibility that was to have that property located. We hired McMahon to draw the blueprints. I don't know where they received their information from.
That really doesn't matter.
Right.
If it wasn't deep enough, it wasn't deep enough.
It wasn't deep enough, and it was in the right of way, which is a perfectly acceptable place to have the pipe.
Yeah, but it might have been underneath the road when we're not digging up.
Correct. If it was where, if it is why there's a change order now. If the pipe was originally where we thought it would have been, we wouldn't have been touching it. And if we knew about it in advance, it would have been, we would be still paying for it, just would have been included in the original bid.
All right, so this is a review of our proposal. Is there a contract we need to approve? Do we actually need to move this?
We'll have an official change order for this, hopefully for the legislative meeting. And the document you're looking at right now is $114,001.98. Bill Henley from Dewey has been negotiating with Marcy. They've been talking about different items, getting the price down. Bill has negotiated the price down that JDM will do this work on a time and material basis, not to exceed $107,830. So right off the bat, there's just over $6,000 savings. We're hoping at time and material that things are going to go our way, and there could be additional savings on top of that.
All right, thank you, Bill.
And as we're mentioning this, there is, so this change order will be coming out, and there is going to be an additional, it's not prepared yet. During this week for the paving with the rain, there has been unsuitable soil under the traffic lane, that's some small excavation work. Bill has been working on those numbers for additional material that need, over excavation additional materials that need to be brought in. I think that's going to be in the area of 20,000. We're still waiting for, Bill's finalizing those numbers now.
All right, so we'll be looking for both of those items
Yes.
on Monday.
And where is that?
This was the right-hand turn lane, and it was actually very close to where the edge of the driveway is for the building. There are two sections in there that had to be dug down and some extra material brought in to stabilize it for the roadway.
All right, anything else? All right, so we'll look for those on Monday. Moving on to the contract with True Green Commercial.
Yes, this is our annual field maintenance that we do, mostly for the athletic fields where we're coming in, doing the fertilizing. We have cut back, and of course we've cut back the fields at Sandy Run for the next 3 years or no longer, so the price has come down. And we've also cut out automatically adding in all the pesticides that we've been, we're now doing that. We'll only put the pesticides down as needed based on observations in the field. So the price has come down. We contacted 4 companies, but we only had responses from Moyer Indoor Outdoor and True Green Commercial, and True Green came in at $12,371. And they've been doing the work for us since I've been here.
Comments or questions? So we did get, I remember, public comment about fertilizer and pesticide treatments in the past and signage for those treatments and that sort of thing. Is that us or is that True Green? And is there any wording in the so we don't actually see a contract here, we just see a quote. Is there?
That's correct. This is just a quote. This is anything. This is lower than our bid threshold. This is the area we search for 3 prices. So this is just a proposal that we'll issue a purchase order for. Yes, we have taken, the signage for this treatment is handled by True Green. We do keep on them to make sure they put their signage up. There's been other comments in the past regarding what services we did. So this past year, we did not treat for grubs. We didn't have any grub treatment in. I had directed our grounds crew that I want to know what the status is. There's ways where we can lift up the surf and see if we have a problem, and we'll attack the problem if we have it, but just we're not doing the proactive, let's just treat anyway stance anymore. We have changed that, so we are only putting down what we are needing to put down. And the other public comment that has been made before is about our in-house treating. When we do, we're using Roundup to go, it's that we do during the summer maintenance. When you start getting the sidewalks, the curb lines around signposts, that's treated by in-house. I've been working with our staff. The past treatments have all been posted. I'm starting to follow one of the township programs. They are starting to experiment with using a vinegar brine solution for weed control. We're going to see how that works, and there's a possibility we'll be switching to that as well.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you. So, so there's no board action needed for this item, right? Okay, purchase of new fleet 2020, it's a truck, and purchase of a new truck program.
Yes, so one of our pickup trucks is aging, and so we did have in our budget for this year to purchase some replacement capital equipment for our grounds crew. This would be through the CoStarz program state contract for a 2020 GMC Sierra 2500 HD four-wheel drive truck. Again, we'll fit this out with a plow when we receive it. Significant savings through the CoStarz program. Then we would go out and buy, base price on this truck would be around $38,000 for us to purchase that right off the lot. Through the CoStarz program, the price is $30,304.
Okay, and this is replacing a vehicle, right?
This is replacing an existing vehicle that our grounds crew uses. We'll probably won't trade that vehicle in. We'll pass it down to the bus mechanics. They typically take our oldest truck that we don't use anymore and use that as their shop truck until basically they can't run it anymore. So this will be a shop truck that they run out for breakdowns or pickup parts.
Okay. Comments or questions? Sam?
Bob, is this a 3/4 ton truck?
Yes.
Okay, and what kind of plows will be put on it?
We usually go with the Myers, would be an 8-foot plow, 8 to 10 foot plow. We'll see what's recommended for the frame of the truck when we get it.
Are they going to install the plow on the truck when you get it?
No, well, we'll send it out to it. We're going to go get pricing for B.M. Myers plow to keep up with everything that we have. So we'll go to some of the local dealers and they'll take care of it.
So you're going to get a new plow?
We will get a new plow for this when we receive it.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move that one forward. Food service meal prices for 1920.
Yeah, so under the umbrella of operations, we have a food service department review that we do every year. Ms. Kristen Deli is our director of food service. She's responsible for going in and using a PDE tool that's available to us to determine if our food service pricing is in line with federal reimbursements that we get for free and reduced lunches. We haven't had an increase in our food service prices since the 14-15 school year. That's all noted in the memo that Ms. Deli wrote and is in here. So what happens is she goes in, she uses a tool that PD puts out, and it compares our current prices to our free and reduced prices, and what that's showing us is that we're required to increase our secondary food prices by 10 cents this year. And as we increase our secondary, we're going to increase the elementary to go along with that by 10 cents. And we believe that's reasonable. She reached out and did some comparisons to other local school districts, which is also included in the memo, so I won't read that. But we're right in the middle of where other school districts are. We're not the lowest, we're not the highest. It's right in the middle. So we feel like this is a fair increase. So what those prices would look like this year is secondary would be $3.10 for a full paid meal. And at the elementary level, it would be $2.85 for a full paid meal. So that's what we're looking to move forward.
Comments or questions? Out of curiosity, it just seems late to be doing that. Are we late? Or is that common? Do people need to budget for that, or?
I think ideally, I would like to have it done in June next year. I don't know if I would say it's late per se. Ideally, I would like to have it done in June next year, or at the end of this year.
Anyone else? All right, so we'll, no board action to take on that, right? Or do we actually set those prices? So we have to.
Yes, we do, so the board would take action on that.
Okay, so we'll.
Wait, one question.
Oh, go ahead.
If you do it in June, will the prices still be like guaranteed and set, even though it's 3 months difference?
It will be. We know almost all of those numbers to do what we need to do in the PDE pricing tool. So I think we'd be fine to do it June. I mean, at the latest July, we would have all the information we need.
All right, thank you. All right, that is the end of the reports and recommendations for community input.
Jen Cousins, Fort Washington. The McMahon traffic, when the township says that we have to do a traffic study, do they tell us which traffic study company we have to pick? Or do they provide a list of companies to choose from? Do we have the option to pick somebody other than them? I'm just curious because I only ever see McMahon around the township, so just wondering if we have a choice in the matter or not. And then I'm wondering, has anyone started conversations with the township about the permitting fees as far as the $520,000 worth of permits? From what I understand, that pretty much covers the cost of our township engineer, our salaried township engineer, to do all the inspections over the course of the project. So rather than put that, since it's taxpayer money, rather than put that on the school district books where it really is taken away from children, that $520,000, is there a conversation about the township keeping it on their side? Do you know what I mean? Because it's the same, it's a salaried employee part of it, so it's the same tax dollar that's paying, whether it comes from the school district side or the township side. So if it comes from the school district side, that's just $520,000 less we have for the students. If it comes from the township side, it's still what they were expecting to do. So I'm just curious if there's a way to kind of work that to our benefit. And then, is there a list or a schedule for that escrow, that $4.4 million? Is there a schedule? If you do this, you get this much back, you have until this date to do it. Is there, because I know with the high school, it took us almost 10 years to get the money back, and we had to spend a lot to get that last bit back. It looked like we were ripping up perfectly good sidewalks in order to get it back in front of the high school. So I'm just curious if there's a schedule. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we'll close community input. Dr. Young?
With regard to McMahon, the traffic study, I don't know that we were given an option. They were engaged, I believe, before I came to the district, but they are the traffic consultant that we've used, and I believe all the developers, not that we're a developer, but the developers in the township, I think, have also used that at the behest of the township.
I can say that McMahon is a very large traffic engineering company. They do have an office in Upper Dublin, and you know they're the big name around here. So I don't actually even know if there are others. I don't personally remember whether we evaluated others early in the project. I don't think we did. But I don't know. I think we went with them on the recommendation of. I'm not sure whose recommendation it was. It was just sort of a default traffic engineer. But that's based on memory. Anything else?
I can give an update on the schedule.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've asked Dewey to do is they put together a full draw schedule, which is look at the course of the project and the phasing of the project and the plans of how everything's going to be done. And they laid out the expense side of the schedule so we can start to talk to our financial advisor, PFM, about the next steps in the financing of the project. As part of that, what we've also asked Dewey to do, there's a draft in place today, but there's more work that needs to be done around it, is exactly what was asked here, was to look at the escrow that we have out there and look and give us, based on your phasing schedule, your phasing plan, when this work will be completed and when we can submit reimbursements and get that back. It's not yet, I'm not comfortable with where it's at right now as far as sharing that. There's still more work to be done on that. And the other piece of that we're going to do is, once we have that plan in place, my recommendation to Dewey is that we all sit down with the township and say, here's what it looks like to us. What is your feedback on that? Since obviously they are the ones that approve that and will be reimbursing us the money. So there'll be more to come on that, but yes, we are doing that.
The drawdown schedule is really critical because it will also guide the next couple rounds of borrowing. Right now in PFM's schedule, we're scheduled to do that large borrowing. But but we may be able to, with a really good, tight drawdown schedule, take advantage of some more BQs so that we would save the district and the taxpayer some money.
And we will start that conversation at September's Finance Committee. So that's already, PFM's working on that, and we'll be able to start that conversation next month.
There was a question about township fees, and I think that really is a question for the township. They set the fees. Any other comments or questions? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, on the township permitting fees, you know, when I was commissioner, we charged fees to break even. You know, the township's not out to make money off the school district or off the developers. They are paying at cost, you know, for whatever it costs the township's employees or their personnel, that's what, you know, it comes down in the budget, that's what we set the fees at. Also, a lot of the inspections are subbed out, like the township engineer, that their staff is not qualified to inspect the steel when the steel goes up, or a lot of other, again, asbestos testing, they don't have the capacity to permit and inspect all those different functions of construction and the phases of the construction. So it's not all, the $500,000 is not all going to the township, it's going out to other contractors that are qualified to make the necessary inspections and permits to complete the permit process.
That's also really important why we have to have a tight drawdown schedule, because it's important to know not only when township when township inspectors are here, because we're going to pay them on a time plus administrative fee basis, but it's also going to be important for us to have those costs for the special inspections that are required for code. I think once we know when those special inspections are going to happen, because a lot of it is around steel, we can then have the conversation with the township possibly about adjusting some things so there's not such a big impact to the district.
All right, final comments from the board or committee? Yep.
Bob, I want to just thank you for being our eyes and ears on this construction. It seems like you're really on top of things. Thank you.
I really want to thank Mr. Lester as well. Bob is a very humble person and doesn't, toot his own horn, but he has really gone above and beyond these last couple months, being the liaison between us and so many people. And a heartfelt thanks to all of our maintenance and ground crews. Not only have they prepared our schools for a traditional beginning of the school year, but they've also emptied an annex building and have populated the modulars with furniture. So I really want to make sure that we're all on record as thanking all of our staff for their hard work this summer.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. All right. Our next Operations Committee meeting is Thursday, September 19th at 6 p.m. right here in the Cardinal Room, and we are adjourned.